Did you know that one of the vegetables sitting in your kitchen right now, something you've eaten your whole life thinking it's perfectly healthy, could quietly raise your risk of a debilitating stroke overnight? Imagine this terrifying scenario. No warning, no pain. You go to bed feeling completely fine, and by morning your speech is slurred, your balance is gone, or one side of your body simply won't move. As a brain doctor who has dedicated decades to treating older adults, I've seen far too many seniors fall victim not to obvious junk food or bad habits, but to foods they genuinely believed were protecting them. Vegetables, yes, seemingly innocent vegetables, the very foods that were once vital for healing your body can, after the age of 60, begin working subtly against you. What truly changed? Your body did. The natural process of aging slows your kidneys, stiffens your arteries, and fundamentally alters how your blood handles sodium, sugar, and crucial minerals. And when that delicate, life-sustaining balance breaks down, it can quietly trigger strokes and form deadly clots in silence, sometimes tragically overnight. Today, I'm here to expose 7 everyday vegetables that, unless you understand how to approach them wisely, can quietly harm your precious brain, disrupt your vital circulation, and threaten your very independence. Stay with me through this important discussion because what you are about to learn may very well save your life or the life of someone you deeply care about. For instance, consider spinach, long hailed as one of the healthiest foods on earth, a green superfood recommended since childhood to keep your heart strong. Yet, what if this very protector of your brain and heart could, under certain circumstances after 60, actually trigger a stroke overnight? It sounds impossible, but as a brain doctor, I've witnessed this heartbreaking reality more times than I care to recall. Spinach is indeed packed with vitamin K, a powerful nutrient that helps your blood clot properly. When you are young and your body is in perfect harmony, this is beneficial. However, as we age, especially past 60, quiet but profound changes occur within us. Our livers process medications more slowly, our blood vessels grow stiffer and more fragile, and many of us are prescribed blood thinners, drugs like warfarin or Coumadin, specifically to prevent dangerous clots from forming. Here, the danger begins. Vitamin K directly counteracts the effect of these vital medications. If you consume large amounts of spinach, perhaps a hefty salad, a morning smoothie, or generous sautéed greens with dinner, your medication can suddenly become ineffective. Your blood starts to thicken again, circulation slows, and small clots begin to form silently, much like tiny grains of sand accumulating in a slow-moving stream. You won't feel it, you won't see it, but it's happening. And then sometimes during the night, one of those unseen clots finds its way to your brain. That's the moment everything irrevocably changes. Your speech slurs, your vision blurs, or one side of your body stops responding. A stroke has struck quietly, cruelly, without a single immediate warning. I vividly remember Mr. Allen, a 74-year-old retired engineer, a gentleman with a sharp wit and kind eyes, who took his blood thinners faithfully every evening and started his mornings with a green smoothie packed with spinach, kale, and avocado, all because he aspired to live longer and stay strong for his cherished grandchildren. For months, he felt absolutely fine. Then one morning, his wife found him on the kitchen floor, his right side paralyzed, his mouth struggling to form words that simply wouldn't come. The scan confirmed a blood clot lodged in his left middle cerebral artery, precisely the kind of stroke that can steal speech and movement in an instant. His blood work revealed dangerously high clotting levels. The culprit wasn't faulty medication or bad choices. It was simply too much vitamin K from the healthy greens he believed were actively saving his life. This is what makes this revelation so frightening. It's not about obvious junk food or negligent habits. It's about something you thought was profoundly good for you, something you've eaten for decades without a second thought. But after 60, even the healthiest foods can become risky if you don't understand how they interact with your unique aging body and your prescriptions. So if you take blood thinners, please talk to your doctor. keep your intake of leafy greens consistent. Avoid skipping them for a week and then consuming a large spinach salad the next. Never drink large spinach smoothies without regularly checking your INR levels, because while your heart thrives on balance, your brain absolutely requires stability. Too much vitamin K all at once can quietly tip that balance, forming dangerous clots no one anticipates. But spinach isn't the only green that hides a secret. You might be thinking, if spinach can do that, what about other so-called healthy vegetables? That's precisely where things become even more concerning. Because the vibrant root that promises heart health doesn't thicken your blood. It can drop your pressure so low overnight that your brain simply can't keep up. Let's talk about beets, the unexpected blood pressure roller coaster. If you're over 60, you've likely been told that beets are wonderful for your heart, that they open up your blood vessels and significantly improve circulation. You might even routinely drink beet juice every morning, convinced it's a natural way to lower your blood pressure and keep your brain sharp. But here's a truth very few doctors explicitly state. For seniors, especially those already managing blood pressure with medication, beets can quietly push your body into a dangerous imbalance, one that can trigger strokes and form deadly blood clots while you are simply asleep. Beets are rich in nitrates, natural compounds that convert into nitric oxide, which helps your blood vessels relax and your pressure drop. This is a marvelous mechanism for a younger body that can quickly adjust to such changes. However, in the aging body, the delicate balance between blood flow and blood pressure becomes incredibly fragile. Your arteries stiffen with time, your heart doesn't pump quite as forcefully, and your brain, the hungriest organ in your entire body, depends on a steady, consistent stream of oxygen-rich blood to survive. When that critical stream slows down too much, even for a few minutes, brain cells begin to die. Now, imagine this scenario. You've taken your blood pressure medication at dinner, and later you conscientiously enjoy a glass of beet juice for its purported circulatory benefits. It seems utterly harmless, even responsible, but together, the drug and the beet's natural nitrates may push your pressure far below what your body needs to maintain adequate blood flow to your brain. While you sleep, your pressure drops even further. Your blood moves sluggishly through already narrowed vessels, and in that slowed, low-flow environment, blood starts to pool and thicken, and that's when clots begin to form. Tiny ones at first, silent, invisible, but when one travels to the brain, the result can be catastrophic. This is exactly what happened to Mrs. Jenkins, a 79-year-old retired teacher who prided herself on her natural lifestyle. No soda, no fast food, only whole grains and vegetables. Every single night she drank beet juice to keep her blood pressure down. Then one morning she tried to get out of bed and collapsed. Her vision spun, her words slurred. At the hospital, her pressure was dangerously low. The scan showed a small but devastating ischemic stroke in her cerebellum, the part of the brain controlling balance. The clot had formed during the night when her blood pressure dipped too far for too long. This is what I wish more seniors truly understood. Not all heart-healthy foods are inherently brain-safe. When you combine foods that dilate vessels with medications that perform the same function, your circulation can slow so significantly that the blood itself becomes a risk factor. Once your brain's oxygen supply falters, the clock starts ticking. Neurons begin to die in mere minutes. Beets are not inherently evil, but for older adults, timing and moderation are absolutely everything. If you enjoy them, eat small portions earlier in the day when your blood pressure is naturally higher. Never pair them with your blood pressure medication or drink beet juice late at night. And always, always inform your doctor if you're incorporating them into your daily diet. The same food that strengthens one person's heart can quietly steal another's mind, because when your pressure falls too low, your brain doesn't simply rest. It gasps, it struggles, and in that silent struggle, dangerous clots are born. And if you thought beets were the only vegetable that could betray you, wait until you hear about the next one. A crisp, watery snack you've probably been told keeps you hydrated, but for seniors, it might actually dry out your brain and thicken your blood overnight. Celery, the silent dehydrator, has for decades been lauded as the quintessential diet food. Crisp, refreshing, light, and full of water. You've likely seen it in every senior health magazine, presented as a guilt-free snack that hydrates you and supports heart health. But as a neurologist who has treated stroke patients for over 30 years, I can definitively tell you this. For many older adults, that innocent-looking stalk can quietly create the exact conditions that trigger strokes and form deadly blood clots, often precisely when you are most vulnerable, while you sleep. Celery acts as a natural diuretic. It signals your kidneys to release water and sodium more quickly. This sounds beneficial at first, as it reduces bloating and can lower blood pressure. However, if you are over 60, your body no longer regulates fluids the way it once did. Your blood vessels have stiffened, your kidneys filter more slowly, and crucially, your brain depends on steady, ample hydration to keep blood flowing freely and consistently. The critical problem arises when you lose too much fluid. Your blood becomes thicker, more like syrup than water, and that's when the danger of clotting truly begins. Now visualize this scenario. You've taken your evening dose of a diuretic or blood pressure medication, you've eaten a few celery sticks as a healthy late-night snack, and you head to bed feeling virtuous. Throughout the night, your body continues to release fluid, but you're not awake to consciously drink water to replenish it. As you sleep, your blood volume quietly drops, your circulation slows, and your brain receives less critical oxygen. In this thickened, sluggishly moving blood, clots begin to form, tiny ones at first, often in the small, vital vessels that feed the brain's most sensitive areas. By morning, the results can be devastating. You might wake up dizzy, your balance completely gone, your words tangled, or in tragic cases, you might not wake up at all. I once cared for Mr. Raymond, an 82-year-old retired carpenter who every night before bed ate celery sticks with peanut butter, believing it to be his healthy snack. He also took a mild diuretic for high blood pressure. One morning, his wife found him slumped in his recliner, unable to move his left arm. The scan revealed a small but life-changing ischemic stroke. His blood was thick, his sodium dangerously low, and his body severely dehydrated. The perfect storm had been brewing for weeks. He simply didn't know it. This highlights why dehydration is one of the most underestimated stroke triggers in older adults. It doesn't require a scorching summer day or intense physical exertion to dehydrate you. It can happen silently through something as seemingly innocuous as too much celery combined with age and medication. When your blood thickens, it doesn't flow freely. It lingers in clumps, and that's when clots, small, silent, and lethal, form. Celery isn't bad in itself, not at all, but it must be respected in your later years. If you enjoy it, eat it earlier in the day and conscientiously balance it with ample water and electrolytes. Never consume large amounts of celery late at night, especially if you're on diuretics or blood pressure medications. And if you frequently wake up to urinate or feel dizzy in the mornings, that's your body whispering that it's losing too much fluid. Do not ignore that vital signal. It's your brain's quiet cry for help. Because at your age, even something as pure as water can turn into a threat when your body's delicate fluid balance shifts. And if you think celery is the only healthy vegetable with a dark side, wait until you hear about the next one. A leafy green, so trendy, it's called a superfood, yet it can quietly shut down your thyroid, slow your brain, and open the door to stroke without a single obvious symptom. Enter kale, the hidden thyroid suppressor, often crowned the jewel of modern health food, seen in every grocery store, smoothie bar, and anti-aging cookbook. It's aggressively marketed as a miracle vegetable loaded with vitamins, fiber, and antioxidants, promising to keep you youthful and protect your heart. But what if I told you that for many individuals over 60, this much celebrated superfood could quietly disrupt your body's delicate hormonal balance, slow your brain's function, and even trigger strokes by creating the perfect conditions for dangerous blood clots to form? The truth is, kale isn't dangerous by its nature. It's dangerous by ignorance of its effects on the aging body. The older we get, the more fragile our internal systems become. Our metabolism slows, our organs work harder, and our hormone balance becomes much easier to disturb. Kale contains natural compounds called goitrogens, which interfere with how your thyroid gland utilizes iodine. When the thyroid slows down, even slightly, your entire metabolism weakens, your cholesterol levels can rise, and your circulation changes profoundly. Over time, your blood thickens, your arteries stiffen, and oxygen delivery to your brain becomes unstable. I've witnessed this heartbreaking scenario countless times. Older adults who earnestly believe they're eating for longevity when, in reality, they are slowly but surely setting the stage for significant vascular trouble. One of my patients, Mrs. Clara Hughes, 76, started every morning with a raw kale smoothie, blending spinach, kale, almond milk, and a scoop of protein powder. "It's what all the health blogs advocate," she told me proudly. For months, she felt energetic, but then came persistent fatigue, foggy thinking, and unexplained weight gain. She initially dismissed it as merely aging until one afternoon she stumbled in her garden, her right hand suddenly weak and uncoordinated. At the hospital, her thyroid hormone levels were alarmingly low, her cholesterol dangerously high, and imaging revealed a small ischemic stroke. The clot had formed in one of her carotid branches, a tiny but critical blockage in a vessel that feeds oxygen to the brain. The underlying cause, a combination of thyroid suppression from years of daily raw kale smoothies and blood thickening from a slowed metabolism. It didn't happen overnight, but when her body's balance finally tipped, it happened fast and irrevocably changed her life forever. This is what I wish more seniors fully grasped. Healthy is not synonymous with harmless for an aging body. Your body at 70 is fundamentally different from your body at 40. The foods that once fueled you can now interfere with your hormones, your medications, and your blood flow in unpredictable, dangerous ways. When your thyroid slows, your blood no longer moves like it should. It becomes heavier, slower, and significantly more likely to clot. And those clots, invisible and silent, can strike without any overt warning. If you enjoy kale, you don't have to give it up entirely. Just be profoundly wise. Cook it lightly to reduce the goitrogenic effect. Avoid daily raw smoothies. Get your thyroid checked regularly, especially if you feel persistently sluggish, cold, or foggy, because the older you get, the smaller your margin for internal imbalance becomes. And sometimes even a superfood can transform into a silent, hidden threat. Kale may be green and vibrant, but when it quietly interferes with your thyroid, it sets off a dangerous chain reaction. Slow blood, rising cholesterol, sticky arteries, and ultimately the kind of clot that can steal your speech or memory in a single devastating night. And if you think kale is the worst hidden danger lurking in your kitchen, you might be shocked to learn that the next vegetable, something as ordinary as the canned corn or green beans in your pantry, can raise your blood pressure, stiffen your arteries, and lay the groundwork for a stroke before you even taste the salt. Let's talk about canned vegetables, the silent sodium bomb. For many older Americans, canned vegetables are symbols of comfort and simplicity. They evoke memories of easy meals, childhood dinners, and that familiar, secure feeling of a well-stocked pantry. After all, vegetables are undeniably healthy, right? But what most seniors don't realize is that inside those bright labels and friendly slogans lies one of the most silent and overlooked dangers to the aging brain and heart, the kind of danger that doesn't make a sound or cause pain until it does, with devastating consequences. The truth is, many canned vegetables are absolutely loaded with sodium, along with preservatives and hidden chemicals that quietly raise blood pressure, strain the arteries, and over time trigger strokes and form deadly blood clots. Here's how this insidious process unfolds. As we age, our blood vessels lose their precious flexibility. The once supple walls of our arteries, designed to expand and contract with each heartbeat, begin to stiffen, much like old rubber. Simultaneously, our kidneys, which once effortlessly filtered excess salt, become less efficient. So when an older adult consumes a can of green beans, corn, or soup containing 700 to 900 milligrams of sodium per serving, often more than a third of the daily recommended limit in a single portion, that excess salt doesn't simply flush out. It stays, it builds up, and this extra sodium pulls water into the bloodstream, thickening the blood and placing immense constant pressure on the vessel walls. Over time, this dangerous combination of thick blood and stressed arteries sets off a chain reaction inside your body. Tiny microscopic cracks form along the delicate vessel lining. Your body rushes to repair them, and in this repair process, clots begin to form. You won't feel this damage. You won't sense it happening, but inside your brain, your arteries are engaged in a silent, desperate battle between too much pressure and too little space for optimal blood flow. All it takes is one small clot, one blocked artery, and in mere seconds, everything you know, your memories, your speech, your cherished independence, can be cruelly stripped away. I'll never forget Mr. Thompson, an 80-year-old widower who, after his wife passed, began relying heavily on canned meals for convenience. Green beans, canned soups, and various vegetables became his comfort food. "They're vegetables," he once told me. "They can't possibly hurt me." But slowly, insidiously, his blood pressure crept higher. 160, 170, sometimes even 180. He felt generally fine, perhaps just a little more tired than usual, until one morning his daughter found him in the kitchen staring blankly, utterly unable to speak. The scan confirmed a moderate ischemic stroke. His arteries were thickened and severely strained, and his sodium levels were sky high. The culprit wasn't a fast food diet. It was the healthy canned food he genuinely thought was keeping him safe. For seniors, the danger of sodium isn't solely about blood pressure numbers. It's profoundly about blood consistency. When salt draws fluid into the bloodstream, it makes the blood denser, heavier, and significantly more prone to clotting. When that thick, viscous blood moves through narrow, aging arteries, it slows down, sticks to vessel walls, and in many cases, clumps together. That's the perfect tragic recipe for a stroke. A slow, invisible buildup followed by a sudden, devastating catastrophe. And yet, many older adults continue to consume canned vegetables every day, completely unaware that each bite adds another pinch of pressure to their already vulnerable arteries. You might feel perfectly fine today, but the damage is cumulative. The stiffness builds gradually until the day your circulation simply cannot handle one more surge. If you truly love vegetables, there's a much safer way. Choose low sodium or no salt added options whenever possible. Always drain and rinse canned foods thoroughly before eating, as this can reduce the sodium content by nearly half. Better yet, stock your freezer with unsalted frozen vegetables. They last just as long and don't carry the same silent, insidious risks. Most importantly, if you have high blood pressure, heart disease, or are taking blood pressure medications, monitor your sodium intake diligently every day. For seniors, even a single can of salted vegetables can push your body into dangerous territory without you ever realizing it until it's too late. Remember, your brain depends on smooth, steady, predictable circulation, not the wild roller coaster ride that high sodium creates. Thick blood, stressed arteries, and unstable pressure are the perfect storm for clots that form quietly and strike suddenly. Because in the end, a stroke doesn't just happen because of one solitary bad habit. It happens because of the small, repeated choices we make every single day, the kind that feel utterly harmless, like opening a can of vegetables. And if you think salt is the only hidden danger on your dinner plate, wait until you hear about the next food. a comfort food so familiar it graces nearly every American table, yet it can spike your blood sugar faster than a piece of candy and silently set off the chain reaction that transforms sticky blood into a ticking time bomb inside your precious brain. Few foods feel more American than the humble potato, whether mashed with butter at Thanksgiving, baked with sour cream on a Sunday, or fried crisp and golden at the local diner. It embodies comfort, tradition, and the very essence of home on a plate. But for millions of older adults, this familiar favorite has quietly become one of the most dangerous vegetables on their tables. I say this as a doctor who has dedicated decades to studying the devastating impact of strokes. Beneath its wholesome image, the potato is a silent sugar bomb in disguise, and it can subtly trigger strokes and form dangerous blood clots in aging bodies that can no longer process sugar the way they once could. The truth is, potatoes are pure starch, concentrated starch that quickly converts into glucose the very moment you chew it. One medium-baked potato can raise your blood sugar faster than an entire can of soda. It's what nutritionists refer to as a high glycemic load. For younger people with fast metabolisms, insulin surges quickly and efficiently clears that sugar from the bloodstream. But once you're past 60, your pancreas doesn't respond as sharply, your insulin sensitivity dramatically drops, and your blood sugar lingers in your system for far longer. That prolonged lingering sugar is what quietly initiates the destructive chain reaction toward vascular damage. When your blood sugar spikes, the excess glucose attaches itself to proteins in your blood and along your vessel walls, a dangerous process known as glycation. Over time, this phenomenon thickens and inflames your arteries. The delicate lining of your blood vessels, the endothelium, becomes irritated, developing microscopic cracks. Your body, always striving to heal itself, sends platelets and clotting factors to patch these tiny injuries. But as it does, it paradoxically forms blood clots that can obstruct crucial blood flow, especially in the brain's narrow, vulnerable vessels. It happens slowly, silently, without any pain or warning, until one day the clot grows just large enough to completely stop the blood supply. That's when everything changes in an instant. I will never forget Mrs. Linda Morris, a 70-year-old grandmother who truly believed she was eating healthily. Every evening she baked a potato with her dinner, never fried, always plain. It's just a vegetable, she would insist, but her blood sugar readings told a dramatically different story. They were spiking sharply after every meal. Then one afternoon, while reading to her granddaughter, Linda suddenly dropped her book and slumped in her chair. She couldn't speak. She couldn't move her right side. A CT scan confirmed an ischemic stroke, a clot in her left middle cerebral artery. Her blood work showed high levels of inflammatory markers and blood thickening, the insidious byproducts of chronic sugar surges from years of what she considered healthy potato meals. It's truly heartbreaking because she conscientiously did everything right. No junk food, no sweets, just comforting food that ultimately turned out to be deceiving her aging body. And that's the painful reality for so many seniors. The aging brain simply cannot handle the same metabolic shocks it once could. Every spike in sugar thickens the blood a little more, stiffens the arteries a little further, and feeds the inflammatory cycle that makes dangerous clots more likely to form. Even mild insulin resistance, a common occurrence after age 60, transforms every large serving of potatoes into a biochemical roller coaster your body can no longer safely ride. So, if you love potatoes, be smart and strategic. Don't eat them alone or in excessively large portions. Always pair them with protein, fiber, or healthy fat like chicken, beans, or olive oil to significantly slow down sugar absorption. Avoid instant mashed potatoes, French fries, and baked potatoes eaten without proper balance. Try smaller servings or switch to sweet potatoes, which release sugar much more gradually. And remember, just because it's labeled a vegetable doesn't mean it's harmless to your aging body, because when your blood sugar surges, your blood thickens. And when it thickens, it clots. Those clots don't always announce themselves. They wait in silence, building slowly in the vital vessels that feed your heart and brain until one day they strike without warning. And if you thought sugar was the only hidden danger on your plate, wait until you hear about the next food. One that seems light, tangy, and refreshing, yet its acid and salt combination can quietly damage your arteries, strain your heart, and set the stage for the most unpredictable type of stroke. I'm talking about pickles and fermented vegetables, the double trouble of acid and salt. There's something undeniably comforting about the sharp crunch of a pickle. For many older Americans, it's a taste that vividly brings back memories, family cookouts, summer lunches, a cold spear nestled beside a sandwich. It feels refreshing, even cleansing. And with all the modern discourse surrounding probiotics and gut health, it's easy to mistakenly believe that pickles, sauerkraut, or kimchi are some of the healthiest foods you can possibly eat. But here's the often overlooked truth I've learned after decades as a neurologist. For seniors, especially those diligently managing blood pressure or circulation problems, that seemingly simple pickle can quietly set off a dangerous chain reaction that triggers strokes and forms blood clots in the most vulnerable organ you have, your brain. The inherent danger isn't in a single bite. It's in what happens cumulatively over time, particularly when the potent combination of salt and acid meets the aging body. Pickles and most fermented vegetables are absolutely loaded with sodium, often 800 milligrams or more per serving, which is well over a third of the daily recommended limit in just a single small portion. Salt at this excessive level draws water into your bloodstream, thickening the blood and forcing your heart to work much harder with every beat to pump it. In younger adults, blood vessels are typically flexible and can expand and flex to handle this increased pressure. But when you're in your 60s, 70s, and beyond, your arteries have inevitably grown stiffer. Their inner linings are thinner and more fragile. Every surge in pressure stretches and irritates them, much like an old, worn garden hose straining under too much water pressure. Over time, those tiny irritations develop into microscopic injuries. Your body instinctively tries to heal them, sending platelets and fibrin to form protective patches. But instead of genuine healing, these patches become sticky, uneven surfaces where dangerous clots begin to form. It's a slow, silent, and ultimately deadly process. You won't feel it happening, but each salty meal is akin to adding one more layer to a hidden, ticking time bomb. Then one night, a clot finally breaks loose, travels upwards, and obstructs a vital vessel in your brain. In seconds, your speech slurs, your balance vanishes, or your vision fades, the classic, terrifying signs of a stroke. And that's just half the problem. The acid present in pickles and fermented foods can also cause subtle but perilous issues, particularly at night. That tangy flavor you appreciate comes from vinegar or lactic acid, which can irritate the stomach and trigger silent reflux, a condition many seniors don't actively feel because the burning sensation often fades with age. But reflux doesn't confine itself to your stomach. Tiny, unseen amounts of acid can travel up into your esophagus and even into your airways as you sleep. This irritates your vagus nerve, the very nerve that plays a crucial role in controlling heart rate and blood pressure. For some older adults, that chronic irritation can lead to unpredictable overnight dips and dangerous spikes in blood pressure, wild, erratic swings that critically stress the brain's delicate vessels. I distinctly recall Mr. and Mrs. Carroll, a couple in their late 70s, who shared a small snack every evening before bed, a few pickles, a handful of pretzels, and a glass of water. It was their cherished, quiet ritual. One morning, Mrs. Carroll woke up feeling dizzy and nauseous, only to find her husband pale and slumped beside her, weak and disoriented. At the hospital, both showed signs of dehydration, severe sodium imbalance, and dangerously elevated blood pressure. Mr. Carroll had suffered a mild ischemic stroke during the night. The combination of sodium-induced thickened blood and nocturnal pressure spikes had proven too much for his aging arteries. That's the cruel truth about foods like these. They don't instantly kill you in a day, but they relentlessly wear your system down, one small imbalance at a time. The sodium draws essential water out of your cells. The acid irritates your nerves, and the quiet of the night brings slower circulation, creating the perfect, ominous conditions for a stroke to strike when you least expect it. If you love fermented foods, I'm certainly not telling you to abandon them completely, but please be exceedingly cautious. Choose low-sodium versions whenever possible. Eat small portions much earlier in the day, and conscientiously drink plenty of water throughout the day. Never make them a nightly ritual, especially if you have existing health concerns. Your heart and brain depend on stability, not extremes. Because when your blood thickens and your vessels strain, even a single pickle can be the final irreversible push your aging body cannot handle. If you still think the dangers end here, please think again. What's truly terrifying isn't any one specific vegetable on your plate, but rather how all of them, when consumed without understanding your body's unique needs, can silently conspire against your precious brain. By now, you've probably realized that aging profoundly changes everything, not just how you look or feel, but how your body meticulously handles even the simplest foods you've consumed for years. The vegetables you once unequivocally believed were pure and harmless can, under specific, often overlooked circumstances, become quiet saboteurs of your health and well-being. This truth is painful to confront, but it is also incredibly powerful. Once you truly understand how your body has changed, you can finally take decisive steps to protect it. After 60, your blood vessels are no longer flexible, resilient rivers of life. They are fragile, intricate pathways that demand meticulous care and a precise balance. Your kidneys no longer filter with the same youthful precision. Your liver processes essential medications more slowly. And your brain, that extraordinary complex organ, depends entirely on a delicate, consistent rhythm of oxygen and perfect circulation to stay alive, sharp, and vibrant. Every single bite you take, every sip you drink, either supports that vital rhythm or dangerously disrupts it. This isn't about fostering fear, it's about cultivating profound awareness. Because when blood thickens from dehydration, too much sodium, or sharp, uncontrolled swings in sugar, it doesn't flow as it ideally should. It slows, it sticks, it clots. And once those dangerous clots form, all it takes is a moment, one small unexpected blockage, one skipped heartbeat, to irrevocably change everything you love. Your ability to speak, your precious memories, your cherished independence, all gone in mere seconds. But here is the most important, empowering good news. The very same knowledge that exposes these hidden dangers can actively save your life. You absolutely don't have to give up the foods you cherish and love. You simply have to meet them where your body is today, not where it was 4 decades ago. Eat vegetables in a thoughtful balance, not in harmful extremes. Keep your hydration steady and consistent, your salt intake low and controlled, and your blood sugar meticulously in check. Cook your greens lightly. Avoid those well-intentioned but potentially harmful late-night healthy snacks. And always, always talk openly with your doctor about what you're putting on your plate, because your food and your medicine are constantly having a silent, intricate conversation inside you, whether you consciously realize it or not. At this venerable age, health is no longer about fleeting trends or superficial fads. It is profoundly about accumulated wisdom. You've lived too long, seen too much, and experienced too much to be easily fooled by health fads or fear-mongering. What truly matters now is absolute clarity. Know your unique body, Listen intently to its subtle signals and respectfully acknowledge and adapt to the inevitable changes time has gracefully brought, because your brain is silently listening to every single bite, every sip, every thoughtful choice you make. Nourish it with profound care. Nourish it with unwavering understanding. And most importantly of all, nourish it for the bright, clear future you still profoundly deserve. A future that is clear-minded, strong, and fully present for every precious moment that joyously remains. These vital lessons are shared to inspire you to live your life fully, authentically, and with confident peace of mind.